Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to VP4 TV. We are supposed to be here for the first match in this year's VP4 2022 Cowboy World Championships between Tornado Tam from Scotland and Ice Age from I don't know where, maybe the States. But the problem is, to have a match, you have to have players. And there is no sign of either player in the lobby. There is about 3 minutes to go. And it could either be one or nobody shows up. But while we're waiting, we'll have a quick look at the schedule. We're supposed to have this match at the top of the hour. But we've also got a good match in an hour's time. Between Mr. Bill and OnePocketSlim, both players from the States, so that's quite early their time. Probably 9 in the morning, I would imagine, maybe 8 or 9 in the morning, depending where Bill is and where Slim is. We've got 3 matches today. We've also got another good match tonight at 7 PM GMT between Larry from the States and Tommy. So those are all the 3 matches scheduled there. We've got a match tomorrow. Spud Boy and Acero has been scheduled. Now obviously Acero, we believe, is in Japan. It's actually Monday night. In fact, sorry, it's tonight at midnight. So obviously I won't be there for that. I'll be in long term in bed at that time. Then we've got a match on Tuesday at 6 PM with yours truly and Brain Fell Out. And then there's a match on Tuesday evening at 6 PM between Hervé, who I think is from Canada, and Casino Jim from the States, one of my fellow Cowboy players in the morning. Hervé plays the odd one occasionally as well. And then finally in the schedule, we've got Redback from Australia and IQ2 from Canada, and they're due to go at 9 PM on Wednesday night, and I should be there for that one. In the meantime, looking back in the lobby, Tornado Tam has arrived, but no sign of Ice Age yet. It's never a good sign when a player isn't in the lobby with a minute to go. Unless he's going to be in the habit of Albinario, where he turns up at the last minute. Good morning to Bill. But we might not have a match here. Unless Ice Age gets the notion of signing up for these things and then forgets all about it, or just decides he ain't interested. It would have been good to have something. Then of course we've got that match well worth looking forward to in an hour's time. Let's check that screensaver thing again. Right, that's working. So Tam might end up just sitting in the room for 10 minutes. Right, let's see if we can get rid of that now. Right, that's working. Well, it's now gone past the hour, and the room is up, and Tam should be getting in there, which he is in. And I've never seen Ice Age play this game, so I have no clue what level he's at, but my assumption is he doesn't play at all. Unless he plays at certain times I'm not around. Well, that's the things that players do. They get excited to sign up to these things. I'm just asking Tam where he's from, because I haven't the foggiest idea where he's from. Oh, he's in Australia. Oh God, aye, it's going to be well late at night. He's probably gone to bed, forgot all about it. Right. Yeah, the players arriving in the lobby, but none of them are Ice Age. So this is going to be a bit of a damp squib to start the afternoon. Well, this is going to be hard to call this tournament. I think it's very open for a number of players to do well in this. You've got Cobra, who has been working on it. Is going to be very competitive. Just a pity Spectre Dawn didn't have the same attitude. I'm disappointed he bailed out, because I think it would work wonders for him, actually expanding his horizons and playing something different. Welcome to Vinces. Well, we are 4 minutes into this countdown. So it's 10 minutes to get in the room as soon as the room goes up, and it's 5 minutes to get back into the room if you disconnect during play. That's the rule, basically. I'm wondering if Ice Age has done this before. It might not be the first time he's done this. I don't think there'll be many people putting their money on any individual to win this. Baker Maker is the current champion, albeit on the 9-foot table. So effectively, he's the man to beat. So 5 minutes left. I don't think he's going to show. I think he's headed to bed with no intention of turning up. That's my guess. Well, we had 81 players in the lobby last night, and another disaster for VP4 TV. One thing I've noticed is I start crap, and I think my last 3 times I've played, I've lost the first match. Got a wee bit better, but then I started looking at the stats for the league, and I've got one of the worst break stats in the whole league. I have scratched 13 times in the break. That's miles in front of everybody else, and I've not played half the amount of games that some of the guys have. My break is bloody terrible, looking at that stat. And then we had Potman in the final match of the night, where he was like 6-3 down or something, got it back to 6-all in the final rack. If he won it, it would have been a win at last for VP4 TV, but Potman choked on a safety. didn't get the balls to the rail, tried to play a delicate little snooker, and of course that gifted it, because he was given like 7 and out or something, I can't remember. And that blew it for us. And then Popman left the team last night. He said he left by mistake. So VP4 TV at the moment is down to 4 players in the team. I might be the last one left in it by the time the bloody thing's finished. Welcome to semi-pro. Yeah, this is going to be a no-go, I'm afraid. There ain't nothing going to change this, I don't think. I'll be really surprised if he turns up. He's got precisely 2 minutes to get here. Am I muted? Oh, maybe I pressed the wrong button because I was testing the screensaver. Maybe that's what it was. Now, I'm going to be using my doodle quite a bit. Now, there are a few players who, most players like myself use a conventional break. What I tend to do is pot the 3 ball and bring the cue ball at least down into the kitchen to always have a carom to follow. Some players do a 3-rail shot where they play off the 3 and they come down and they hit the 1, and sometimes they'll pot the 3. I'm not as elaborate as that. I'm pretty more straightforward. Now, the one thing to be critical about players is players just playing caroms and banging caroms. What you've got to do is try and keep a ball in play. Obviously, you want a ball to pot next. So you've got to be thinking. It's like every game you're ever going to play. You've got to be thinking about what you're doing. So Tam's visit was only 9 points, which is not a good start. And now, what I'd be doing, I'd be potting the 1 ball here. Because then again, you're staying down in the kitchen and you've got carom opportunities to go from the 1 to the 3 or the 1 to the 5, depending where you finish behind the 1 ball. Now Tam's going for the pot and the carom, and that means he has an open table. He can play a pot or a carom to follow. He'll probably play another pot and a carom here. He's had a bang, and Tam wants to stop doing that, because you know when you start banging balls, you're going to scratch. My major failing in Cowboy, and everybody will tell you that, is that I can't resist a 3-rail shot. So if you want to put me in a trap, leave me a 3-railer, I'll go for it. That's my biggest downfall. So an easy carom to follow, 5 to 3. Now what you don't want to do is push the 3 to the rail and leave it there. So now where he is, again, he's top side of the 5, and it gives him 2 shots to get a carom. He has a choice of either to follow. Mind you, that was a pot, wasn't it? Aye, it was a pot. So this is again a little bit tricky. He's now pushed the 1 ball safe and left a dodgy cut in the 5. He's trying to reverse bank the 1. Now this is a shot that you'll get quite a lot in Cowboy, where you end up right in the middle. You're trying to leave a force follow carom, but you end up right in the middle, so you end up playing a draw. Now this is going to be easy, because you pot the 3, bring the 3 onto the spot. You've got an easy carom either way, wherever you finish with the cue ball. So Tam's run goes to 34. But again, got to be a wee bit more careful running that cue ball. He's taken a few little risks here, Tam. This could end in disaster. He needs to be a wee bit more careful. So the run is going to end. You see, the easy carom was the 3 to the 1 there. When you're playing that force follow there and you haven't quite warmed up and got your angles right, it's not quite as easy. The easy one was the 1 to the 3. That's the one he should have went for. And the run ends on 43, so it's a reasonable enough contribution. And unless Ice Age can come up with some sort of response, Tam is going to be heading towards that first target of 90. Your main objective in Cowboy is to get to 90 before your opponent does, and get into those caroms as much as you can to put the pressure on them. So now Tam has a chance to get to 90. So the 3 will spot. Well, again, he could play the 3 and still stay top side there, but he still ended up potting the 5 and get an easy carom in the 1-3. Now that's a shot I do quite a lot as well, where you're playing a carom between 2 balls. You know, you're sort of splitting them, and what I like to do is to actually stun the cue ball and kill it, and then let those balls run. Sometimes you might get a bit desperate. You're really trying to get something back in play when you end up stuck in between 2 balls. So I like to kill the cue ball. And at the moment it's looking very comfortable for Tam. Big lead. But as we know, anybody that's played Cowboy, you can have as big a lead as you want up to 90. But if you can't get the caroms done, all the time the other guy's coming back at you. But looking at the contribution that Ice Age has made so far, I don't honestly believe that that he's going to pose any great threat to Tam. Well, if he plays a little stun draw in the 1, he can come back into the table for a 1-5 carom. That would be easy enough. If he goes above the kitchen line, that is. Well, he's gone way up the table, but he's still got the carom from the 1 to the 5. He's taking his eye off the ball because he's not sure what sequence he's in there. And again, that's not focusing. The run ends on 34. And he's potted a ball when it should have been a carom. And that's a fault that we've all done in this game. When you're so focused on actually where the balls are, you lose track of what you're doing. And the worst time to do that is when you're knocking the door on the door of 90 and you pot a 3 ball when you only need 2 points. I've done that before. So Ice Age has to make something count here. Well, it's not so much that. I think, well, it could well be that. That might be a point. He may well have just decided to pot that rather than taking any risk, and that's not a bad thing to do either. I mean, that is a good point, Bedhead. He may well have done that. He may well have done it. As long as you've got your wits about you and you know what you're doing, you play a sensible shot rather than taking a risky shot, which is what I tend to do. I would be tending to look for a 3-railer or something daft. Welcome to Brain Fill Out. I think Tam's in some sort of a hurry here. He's trying to race to the finishing line and it's only the first rack. But he has to have a pot on the 1 ball or a carom. He obviously can't pot the 3 or the 5 because that takes him over the 90. So he just has to bide his time. And he'll take care of the 90 point now by potting the 1 on the side. He can roll through slightly to leave him the 3-5 carom. And again, this is one that can always go wrong if you go into it too heavy and pot the 5. Now again, this is dangerous because the 3's right over the pocket. He's looking to get to the right side of the rail, the long rail first, and chip the 3 rather than going direct to it, I would think. No, he's going for the 2-railer or 3-railer to the 5. But the shot to play there was to get to here on that 3 ball and kick it that way, try and bring it back into play. Well, this is something I'd be going for every day of the week. From the 5 to the 3, it's a pretty good 2 or 3 railer, that 5 to the 3, but Ice Age wasn't interested. And again, I'd be going up to the 5 and bumping it and trying to get the spin working. He didn't get enough spin in the cue ball. So Tam is into the caroms. He's on 91. And now you're looking to, at some point, if you can, get control to begin to gather the balls and really chase through those caroms. So that's what Tam's waiting on. He's waiting on a chance to get some sort of control when he's at the table. And the contributions from Ice Age are not anywhere near good enough. But having said that, I've got to come to the player's defence. Ice Age, I don't think, plays very much Cowboy unless any of you guys can confirm or witness to any. And so, if he has played Cowboy, he's probably like most relatively new players to Cowboy start off on a 9-foot table. And this is like a totally different experience going to the 10-footer, because you've got to get used to the pace. The pace of the table is different because you've got further distances to go. The cue ball has got to travel further. Now again, you can play tactically. You know, if like Tam, you're in this position and Ice Age isn't making great contributions, then what you don't want to do is what's happened here, is have the 1 ball and the 3 ball stuck over pockets, because that's of no benefit to you whatsoever. So you're far better playing the deliberate foul and getting these balls into the table. Okay, you're going to give away some points to Ice Age, but Ice Age's contributions are not going to be really, I don't think they're going to be life-threatening the way it's looking at the moment. And every time you pot a ball, you've got to keep thinking about that cue ball. You've got to keep thinking about where the ball is spotting. You've got to keep remembering what end of the table you're at when you're shooting, because I make that mistake loads of times. So the 1 ball's over the pocket. It's no good. If he wants to quickly get this first rack over, he wants to get rid of it. And now, of course, with the scratch, ball in hand in the kitchen for Ice Age, he can't play the 1 ball directly. He can go up and down and kick the 1 ball in if he wants, but he has to go out the kitchen. He can't shoot any ball in the kitchen with ball in hand. If the 1 ball is on its spot in the kitchen, you can pot the ball into any pocket from there. Yeah, Slim, I finished at 12 today. I actually didn't realise it had a shorter shift than I thought I had. I thought it was on till 2, and if it was on till 2 I wouldn't have been here. So Ice Age, it looks as if it's going to be just generally very small contributions. But, you know, on the day, anybody can put a run together in Cowboy, an alternate Cowboy, and that's the great thing about it. And if you faff around and don't get into these caroms like Tam's doing at the moment, all of a sudden Ice Age is on his tail, and then the pressure starts. And that can happen very easily if you don't get your mind in the job. So if I was playing in this game right now, I can guarantee that one ball wouldn't be sitting there. First opportunity I have, that one ball will be in the pocket and on its spot. And that's what Tam should be doing right now. And the 5 ball's now over the pocket. But he wants to get rid of the 1 and concede the table to Ice Age and get on with this. And obviously the 5 ball being over the pocket, a lot of players are attracted to the 5 points of the 5 ball. But Ice Age pots the 1, keeps the 5 there. The 5 ball being there again is no good to Tam for his caroms. And Ice Age is trying to avoid the 5 ball at the moment, but I don't think he's got any other choice. Now, where he's got the cue ball is pretty good. This is a simple carom, just a cut in the 1, the cue ball does the rest. And now he has a choice of either pot. Now, the obvious one to pot here is a 3 ball and just to go through. And he's looking for points here when he should be, when he's, well, I'll tell a lie, it's a carom, wasn't it? So much for me talking about paying attention to the HUD. So now, Tam at the table. Now, the risky shot here would be playing the stun to the 3 and banking the 5. He could overcut the 1. If he overcuts the 1 with right spinning the cue ball, he's got a fair chance of getting a 2-in-1 shot, either a hit on the 5 or running to the 3. So he needs to overcut the 1 though. That looks like what he's doing. You overcut it. And now the 5 and 1 are together. The run is 4. And again, he's banging at balls when he shouldn't be. Again, there was no need for that. He's just frittered away the effort that he's just put in. And he's back to 91. And this is what can happen. If you start pissing about and you don't get your mind on the job, you know, Ice Age is going to chip away and chip away and chip away if he's given the chance. Now, he should have took the carom there instead of trying to pot the 5. He wants to get himself started. So Ice Age isn't helping his cause. And again, Tam's potted the 1 ball. Now, this is a fairly easy force follow in the 5 to the 1. You've just got to get that line and trust your vision. Now again, I'd be cutting the 5 and just coming back across the table to the right to leave the 5-3 carom. But he hasn't potted the 5. And again, he's killed it for Tam because the 5's now dead. And this can be the frustrating part of the game as well. And he's just going to have to do this in wee bits and pieces here. Well, he might as well do the right thing and just keep his points. I mean, he can go for the carom from the 3 to the 1. But just let Ice Age pot the 5. Easy carom to follow. But you don't bang this. You just want to keep the 5 in play. And now you look at the spot and you check where the 3 ball goes and you pot the 3. That's what you should be doing here. You can pot the 5 and stay top end where he is. And as long as you don't go dead straight like that, then you'd have a shot. I think he should have taken the 3 there, because that would have got all the 3 balls together. I would have potted the 3 instead of the 5 there. But he's come away with a carom. And again, I'd be potting the 3 and looking at where the 3 spots and looking at the line from the 3 to the 1. This might be okay. Again, it's a simple force follow, or you can play the 5 to the 3 and bring the 3 and 1 together. But again, if you hit the carom too hard like that, you bump the 1 off the rail and back into play. Now you're left with nothing easy at all. See, he's not thinking on his toes here, and this is what happens to the less experienced players at this game. And it's the same for every game. When the player's not really thinking about what they're doing, they get themselves muddled up and the run ends very rapidly. Well, the 1 to the 3, you've got to judge how much you get into the cue ball here. The cue ball's spinning 100 miles an hour, that's why you don't see the cue. Well, he's going from the 5, but to me the 1 to the 3 is the better shot. But they're not falling into place here. Now he's got a shot either way, left side of the 3 or right side of the 3 to get to the 1 or the 5. He's come from the 5 to the 3. And now he's in a wee bit better shape to get that 1 ball out of there. As long as the line that he's taken doesn't pot the 5. Now let's have a look. He can play the 3 railer from the 5, or you can go inside like that. You had options there, which is good. You want to be giving yourself options. He's on 97. And now when it gets to this critical stage, you want to try and keep the 1 ball in play and try and manoeuvre it towards a pocket if you can. Well, that's a lucky finish for Tam, because he's left Ice Age nothing. And now Tam's got ball in hand for an easy carom from the 5 to the 1. But he wants to bring that, not the 5, the 3. He wants to bring the 3 back in play. Now he's got the 1 to the 5. But he wants to try and send the 1 back up the table though. See, now this isn't great. I think he should have hit that a bit harder to bring the 1 back up the table towards the 3 there. And now it's, well, there's still a possible carom from the 1 to the 3, going from the 1 to the rail out to the 3. This might work. Not quite. So this first rack is what, 25 minutes old, which, when you've got one player that can score when they're in, you know, these racks will go reasonably quick. But if you get two players at Ice Age's level, then a rack will take a good hour and more sometimes. Well, if I was sitting in 68 at the moment, my first objective is to stay at the table and get to 90 with this contribution. This visit would have to end with me getting to at least 90 or I've got no chance. Now, again, I'd be going up and down. Is he going wide enough? Well, he can go to the rail. You actually want to go to the long rail first and hit this 5. You don't want to go direct. Now again, he can pot the 5, draw back off it, or come out and at least leave a 5 to the 1. Now this is what I call the sucker scratch. The player hits the 5 to the 1 too hard and scratches off the 1. But again, Ice Age is nowhere near finding the line to get the carom. So I'm guessing that this is a completely new experience for Ice Age. So Tam now has the outshot, the scratch off the 1 ball into this bottom right hand corner or into the bottom left, whichever he feels is better for him. It's just going to be a little skim. Well, that's nowhere near it. I think he's waiting a better opportunity. And where the 1 ball is now is not bad for a scratch. Well, it might not be there that long though. Now again, Ice Age, desperate for the points, pots the 5, but isn't really thinking about where he's going with the cue ball. And now he's only 8 away. Now the important thing for him is that he doesn't lose track of where he is and waste this visit. It takes him to 85. He needs the carom to follow, and he can go off the 3 ball to the rail. No, that's not going to get there, so the visit is wasted because he's sacrificed his points. And Tam has got a gift and a half to get out. Just a little force follow, and it's 1-0. So Ice Age breaks off in rack number 2. And he gets the pot and the carom, so he now has the open table. And he also has what is normally for regular Cowboy players an easy post follow 5 to 3. Again, not finding the line, hitting it pretty much full in the face. That just needed a very slight cut on the 5 for that cue ball to go through and catch the 3. But he's not getting himself set up. Well, again, my objective here is stay up the top end of the table. See, Tam's come down to the middle of the table, and this is not great. You know, you pot the 3, you stay the top end of the 3, and then you've got opportunities. Now he's having to play the old stun bang onto the 3, which can scratch. I think Tam just wants to get to 3 and get it over with. That's the only thing about this tournament in the sense that it's a race to 3 in each round, but what you don't get to see is the rack scores. When a result comes through, you don't get to see what the rack score was. You only know that it's 3-0 or 2-1 or whatever, or 3-1, whatever the score is. So 5 goes on its spot. Again, an easy 5 to 3 carom, gentle pace though. You don't want to hit that 3 hard. And again, he can play a similar shot again here. He can pot the 5, stay down the bottom end of the table here, and play from the 5 to the 3 again. But again, he's doing elaborate things with the cue ball, which is no use at all. It's not keeping himself in good shape. I mean, he's got the 5 to the 1, but he had the easier shot where he was at the top end of the table. The bonus is the 1 goes in as well. But the run is 43 and counting. And now he's in good shape. This is ideal. Easy 3 to the 5, but you don't want to just push the 5 onto the 1. You want to hit it a wee bit firmer like that to keep things in play. And again, the line is good as long as you don't go too central into the table. He's got, well, I think he has. Let's have a look. He's still going to catch the edge of the 1. You just don't want to get too straight on it and blind yourself on the force follow. And now this is risky. He just doesn't want to start running the cue ball. He's trying to gently pot the 3 to keep the cue ball there for the 3-5 carom. Now again, he could go to the rail or go direct. The only danger with going to the rail is coming off the back end of that 5 ball and scratching, depending on the pace you hit it at. And the run now goes to 62. And now he's going to have to go long rail, short rail, or directly onto the 5. And the 3 ball's going to be in play. This is good because the 3 is going to spot and he'll have an easy carom to follow, a guaranteed carom when he pots the 3. This is taking a better shape now. Now he's taking his eye off the pot. And the run ends on 62. The cue ball was in perfect position for the carom to follow. Yeah, but he needs to slow up a wee bit, Tam. He maybe feels that he plays better playing a bit quicker, but he's hitting the odd shot a bit too hard on occasion. But again, I don't think he feels any great threat. I think that's part of the reason he's playing a bit loose. I think now he's got good measure of what level Ice Age is playing at, and he's Ice Age isn't going to threaten him as far as contributions go. So I think Tam's just desperate to get some points. This is going to scratch and get this match over with. That's really what it's all about. Well, there's I mean, you can slam into the 5 and stun along to the 1, play the carom that way, or you could use a bit of acreage and start running the cue ball. Yeah, gee, I need to show Tam how to play that shot. Now again, I would be potting the 3 ball, staying the right side of the table. And see, he's running the cue ball for no reason whatsoever. You know, he's just letting it run loose and sort of hoping that he gets a chance of the carom, whereas he had the chance of the carom by keeping the cue ball up the table and making it simpler than having to run to the rail there. Once again, 5 to the 3 is simple enough. But you see the angle that cue ball come off the 3 ball at is heading for the pocket. Any harder with those shots and you're always going to scratch. So again, the run ends in 15. And that just won't get the job done, I'm afraid. And the one thing you'll also notice is there is no shot clock in this tournament. And really, when you get 2 reasonably good Cowboy players playing this game, you don't need to have a shot clock, because there's not an awful lot of thinking needed. If you're already thinking about what you're doing, there's not an awful lot of thinking needed on each shot. You know, everything should fall into place if you've got everything under control. And you've seen how quick the first rack went. Tam already on, what, 82? And just again, the simple shot would be the 3 and then leave the 3 to the 5 carom. He's looking at leaving the 5 to the 1. And I don't know whether this is going to work because... yeah, he was always going to run into that 1 ball with a 5. He should have stayed and potted the 3 there and played the 3 to the 5. That was the far easier, and it was the more guaranteed shot. Now, of course, Tam can't pot the 5, but he can play the 3 to the 5 carom. Well, I'd be playing the 3 railer every day of the week here off this 3 ball. Even though the 1 ball is just a simple pot. That 1 ball needs to keep coming up, and that's not bad. He's got the easy force follow. Depending whether the 5 ball's going to pot, you've got to just be careful of your lines. No, he's fine. Well, the 5 ball's no good where it is there. He needs to look at fairly swift way of getting that out of there. Yeah, whatever happened to him? That's another one that's gone AWOL. Well, choices here. He's going for the big draw. Now the one ball's heading in the right direction, as long as it slows up. And that's no good there. And I don't know whether he can get the 5 ball away if he's trying to force follow. The line he would have to take would be going very close to knocking the 3 ball. Now he can go right side of the 5 ball there. Now again, where that 5 ball was sitting there, he could have went left side of the 5 ball with right English, so that it hits the rail, goes along and up like that to go for like a 4 railer. That's the sort of shots I keep looking out for. Well, that's done Tam a favour, gets the 1 into play. Well, you have to play the pot and the 1 and the draw to the 5. And he hasn't got into the cue ball there. Well, if this was me, I'd be cutting the 3 ball. Cutting the 3 ball, coming across the table and leaving an easy carom from that 5 to the 1 and getting the 1 out of there. Well, we are about 4 minutes away from the match between OnePocketSlim and Bill, and I reckon that's where we're going to be heading as soon as it starts, because I reckon Tam will take care of this match in the next hour or so. And a basic error there from Ice Age, loses his 16 points. And Tam could be out here if he can keep this 3 and 5 in reasonable shape. And that doesn't work. It actually just caught the 5 there and helped it into the pocket. Well, now the 5 and the 1 are in the kitchen. No, tell a lie, the 5 isn't. The 5 is actually good. Well, good luck to Slim, good luck to Bill. 3-1 to Ding it is. Oh, well, good start for him. Welcome to repetition. And again, that 5 ball is spoiling Tam's chances of getting out here quick. So he wants Ice Age to pot that 5 ASAP. And now it's the run to the finishing line for Tam as soon as he gets the table. Well, that's held the 5 spot. And that will do very nicely because this 3 ball's coming nicely into play for Tam. Now what you do here is you gently brush the 1 towards the 5 because you're always going to make the 3 ball. And you're set up your next carom as long as you don't block yourself off. He's okay because he can still get from the 3 to the 5. But again, he wants to be gentle. And he's still got them in line. I don't think he can get through. No, he can't. Going from the 5 to the 3. That'll do. Now you can go from the 5 to the rail to the 1. He's trying to draw directly to it, I think. Yeah, he could have just used the sort of natural angle there and gone to the rail and come out to the 1. But it's a contribution of 3. And he needs another 3. So Slim and Bill will be getting underway. And that's where we're going to be heading. Because there's an inevitability about that match between Tam and Ice Age. Oh, the 1 ball needs to slow up. It needs to slow up. Well, if he can get the carom from this 5 to the 3. Oh, he's just missed it. He'd have been out. Well, Ice Age is only going to prolong the inevitable here. But this is a bit of advice to any player watching that's in the tournament. If your contributions are only single figures, or somewhere between 16 and 20, and you're doing that too regular, then you ain't going to be going far in this tournament. That's the one conclusion that's easy to come by. You must be making much bigger contributions to be in a competitive state in this tournament and survive. Because if you're only making small little nibbles into that score, it ain't going to matter. Because the other guy probably will be, and you'll be long gone. Right, so we'll assume that things will take care of themselves in this match. We're going to head in to watch the match between Bill and Slim. If we can get in the room, that is. Don't tell me. I think the balls must be moving. Yeah. And Slim at the table. He won the lag, and this is his first contribution. Now, that needed to be a bit more gentle. Again, it's about staying in the bottom side. Again, you don't want to push this one ball to the rail. He's playing the draw from the 1 to the 5. And now the objective here is get the one ball back in the spot, or stay top side of the 5 to play the 5 to the 3. But I think that, again, you've got to give yourself opportunities. If you pot the 1 and you stay up top side, then you've got a shot from the 5 to the 1 or from the 5 to the 3. See, now he's getting a bit loose. Now he's having to manoeuvre the cue ball too much. But then again, the recovery is so easy in Cowboy as well. You know, you play a bad shot and it's not sitting good, and then you have a recovery shot that can get you back into shape. So if he cuts the 3 and comes out into the table and slows up a bit, he's going a bit too quick. If it's again stayed on that bottom side or the top side of the 3, when I'm talking about top side of the 3, I'm talking about in that area there. You would have the shot from the 3 to the 5. See, now he's looking for a shot for a carom here, and he can go from the 3 to the 1. You can just draw off that, go at the short rail and spin into the 1. And that's not the shot. So the visit ends in 23. And that just got a bit loose there because Slim was having to play sort of semi-recovery shots. It could have been a lot more. Players like Bill and Slim and Cobra and all the rest of them, they're all good potters and have a general idea where the cue ball's going to go, but you've still got to make the shot at the end of the day, and you can't be playing recovery shots all the time because you're not getting yourself in the best of shape. And Bill not finding the cut angle in that 5. Well, this could be a 2-pointer here. If you hit the right side of the 1 from the 3, you could spin into the 5 with the cue ball. Table was open, so he had a choice. He could have played the pot or the carom there, chose the pot, and now again he's in no man's land a bit on this 5. It's too straight. He can probably draw off the 3 to the 5. Again, you see Slim's like a duck out of water here, just not finding that line. But he might settle down. And this is an ideal setup. All the balls in their spots, cue balls in good shape, an easy carom to the 5. But the 3 balls now in a dead spot. It's not great where it is. You want to get that out of there as quick as you can. And what I'd be doing is I'd be potting the 5 and going up table for a 5-1 carom here, and then if I can, either finish the rail and pot the 3. You've got to work around this 3 ball. The objective here is working around the 3 ball and trying to get the shot that will bump the 3 out, or at least get you to the rail and pot the 3, because it's no good where it is in terms of actually putting a run together. you're going to struggle and struggle and struggle till eventually you run out. You run out of gas. Again, this is a survival stay at the table shot, 5 to the 1. And again, you've got to be careful with the pace. Now, if that had brushed off the 1 and went below the 1 towards us, it would have given an opportunity to try and cut the 3 and get rid of it. I mean, that 3 will still cut. But you see how your score takes so long to go up when you're just paddling around with a 1 ball and a 5 ball to work with. The chance now to get the 3 out. And now it's in better shape. Well, again, you pot the 5, bring the cue ball into the middle diamond in the table, and you've got a 5 to the 3 carom. You possibly have the 1 to the 5 carom. See, the cue ball's not quite got there. The target there was to get to sort of here. And you would have, someone like that, you would have the 1 to the 5. You've got a thin 5 to the 3 that way. He's trying to go direct. Yeah, you're always probably better going to the rail to hit that, or coming from the rail behind to hit it. So the visit ends in 21, 9 points in it. And this will be good for a 1-5. And Tam's won before, but Ice Age has had enough. Because that match wasn't going anywhere for him. Ice Age has found he's well out his depth. But all that matters is it's a win for Tam. The first Scot through to round 2. Possibly the only Scot through to round 2. So the table is open for Bill. Cue ball coming to the left here. Again, for the easy 5-1 carom. Well, ideally you want to play the carom and pot the 1 here. Well, the shot is there from the 3 to the 1. Oh, he was on a pot. I forgot again. Pay attention. Now he's in the carom. This is again perfect. But you've got to leave yourself a shot, and I think he's okay. I think he can get to the 3. But once again, I'd just be gently rolling this 3 in and staying behind the 1 ball. I'd be staying in the kitchen like that. That's where you want to be. Because then you know your next shot's a gimme. I mean, you've got a choice, 1 to the 3, or if you're confident, you go 5 to the 3. And he's just caught the edge of it. Now that needs to bounce that 5 ball, because that's the one he wants to be potting next. And again, you just want to get it into the hole. You don't want this cue ball to run anywhere out the kitchen if you can help it. And he's missed the pot. And that was actually ideal. That was perfect for a 1-5 post follow there. But he missed the pot in the 5. You know, Bill's played a wee bit of Cowboy. Bill's got a reasonable idea of where he's going. Well, once again, you don't want to put the 3 ball to the top rail. if you do, you want to bring it out. And you don't want to be doing that and catching the edge of it and scratching. So an easy start for Bill. Possibly a pot and a carom at the same time here. So again, that leaves the table open. Again, he can pot the 5 and play a 1-5 carom, or he can play a carom to the 5-3, so he's got choices. Now he's wanting to get the 3 on its spot, and again he's coming back into the table and pretty much a gimme 3-5 carom here, but he doesn't want to play it too hard. The reason I say it, well, he's got a cut in the 5, that'll do. And it's just cut the 5 and come back into the table, and he'll have a 5-1 carom pretty much guaranteed. But once again, you've got to make the pot though. I wouldn't have gone that heavy on that shot there. I would have just stayed over the left hand side of the table with the cue ball. Now again, this is finished in a sort of no man's land. Slim's leaving himself work to do to make contributions here, but he's just caught the edge with the spin. But once again, it's not great shape for the pot. Cut the 1. If he goes up the table, he's got options for a carom. That was the right shot. Force follow on the 5 to the 1, which again isn't difficult for a regular Cowboy player. The 3 going in might not have been that handy, but it's good enough for a pot. Now it is, I just wondered whether Slim's thinking there. He wants to just pot the 3 and he's got a 5-1 carom to follow, or a 3 to the 5-1. If he pots the 5, he's got to stay top side here where we are, and that'll do. Well, now this is a sucker scratch. If you hit this carom too hard and you hit half ball on the 3, you'll scratch. But he's well aware of that. Now once again, he can pot the 3 and stay top side of the 3 for a 3-5 or a 3-1 carom. But he's running the cue ball again. And you see that shot there was not the best of shots. I mean, he's in theory still got some sort of carom from the 5 to the 3, but it's not comfortable. So he's having to play bailout draw shots. But the run goes to 23, and he's 20 in front of Bill. So at the moment, he's favourite to get to 91st. Well, that's the one thing that Slim does have in his favour, and the fact that he's well used to the 10-footer as far as him playing bedhead at one pocket on it. That's where he's more familiar with the 10-footer than Bill is. But Bill's now got a chance to respond. Now, if he can go forward off the 5 and come out into the table, he'd be looking down on a 5-3 carom to follow. If he's cutting the 3, he wants to try and stay down this end here where he's coming. He doesn't want to be hampered by the 1 ball though. Again, this is just, it's not in good shape at the moment, Bill. If that 3-ball finishes better for the pot, now he's reasonable. He's reasonable in the sense that he can guarantee a continuing shot after this. If he pots the 3 and watches where the 3's spotting and watches the line of the cue ball, he should have a 3-5 carom to follow. How does that look? That's fine. I mean, that 3-ball should be out of the way and he should be getting to the 5 before the 3-ball hits the cue ball. Yep. And now he's in a bit of trouble. He's got to cut the 1. Now, I would be cutting the 1 with a bit of right English so that I'm coming this direction. And the reason I say that is depending on where I finish with this cue ball here, he's coming this direction. This is in a sort of no man's land. The reason I say that is if you finish short in the 3-ball anywhere over this side, you've got a 3 to the 5 or a 3 to the 1. But more than anything, it's the natural ability of these players at this level that can keep them at the table by reading the angle that a ball's going to come off another ball to make a recovery carom. And this is why Cobra will adapt to this game very well, and why good players in other types of games can adapt to this quickly once they find their feet. So Bill on a pot. The run goes to 20. He's got the 5 to the 3. Now again, he wants to hit this 3-ball fairly full in the face. Ideally he wants to leave it so that he's potting it and stays top side of the 3. It's not got a great angle on it, that's the problem. Because my idea there would be hitting that full in the face and sending it towards the pocket but not in the pocket, and then potting it and staying top side of the 3. See, now he's running a bit loose. But again, the control and the pace is good. And he has a force follow off that 5 to the 3, but he's not looking as if he's that comfortable at playing it, but that's a shot. The only worry is that the line might be that the 5-ball's coming out to nudge the 3, that he might not get the cue ball there quick enough. He's looking for the feather edge, and that's what can happen. The old eyes catch you out when you're trying the feather edge carom. You know, just to brush that 5-ball, and that's 31 points down the pan. And that shot there I've done many a time. The old eyes can't pick the edge. And all that effort for nothing. Nothing to show for it at the end of the day. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about Cowboy. When you try to get those little delicate shots, yep, he's lost all his points there. Because he completely missed the ball. But, you know, Bill was just struggling a wee bit there. There's certain shots that are obvious and guaranteed to give you a carom in the next shot, and there was 1 or 2 that Bill just missed. Not dropping into that spot that would be ideal to give him that next carom. And it's just through lack of playing the game, you know, because it becomes a much more natural game to you if you play it regular enough and often enough. But sometimes when you're playing a carom, you know, you hit the object ball and you hit it in the wrong spot and it goes dead, and it can frustrate you. You can have days like that. I've had plenty of days like that where, you know, you can, given a chance, you can put a decent run together, but the balls just don't roll into the spot for you. You can't get the cue ball into the spot, and you just can't put runs together, and you end up just making bits and pieces. I've had plenty of days like that. And then I've had days where I've come to the table there. You know, the other day there when I did that practice, my first ever practice in Cowboy, I had a run of 91 and I wasn't even thinking. But then you can have long dry spells where you just can't seem to get things to fall into shape, and it's so frustrating. Well, Bill's back to work again because he's going to have to try and eat into this deficit here. But you can already see the difference. That first rack with Tam was all over in like, what, 25 minutes in Tam's match. Well, this match is already 25 minutes old, and we're still none of the players at 90. So you can see the difference. And this is two good players at potting balls. Yep, you've got three phases in Cowboy. First of all, you'll lag for the break anyway, and then when you break off, you have to play off the 3 ball, and your choice is pot the 3 ball. Some players do the fancy break where they try and come off the 3 ball, spin around the rails, and hit the 1. Once you've potted a ball or caromed a ball, you have to do the alternate shot next. So it has to be pots and caroms up until you get to 90. And once you get to 90, from 90 to 100, it's caroms only. And then the final third phase of the game is you must scratch off the 1 ball. The scratch must be called into a specific pocket, and the cue ball has to go in there clean. If you, at any point, if you scratch, the opponent comes into the table with ball in hand in the kitchen, and if any of the object balls are also in the kitchen, he can't play any of them directly. And there's been many a time where a tactical safety can actually have all the 3 balls into the kitchen, and you give your opponent ball in hand, and they have to go out the kitchen to try and make a hit, a legal hit in a ball. So that's where a wee bit of strategy can come into Cowboy. You can get really dirty in Cowboy if you're desperate enough. Well, Bill's run is a run of 30. Now, the main objective here is that if there's a risky shot on, do you dare risk it? Or the run ends on whatever it was, 30. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to play a safety. If you've got a good run and there's a risky shot on where you might scratch or do something daft, you're far better off just playing some sort of half-hearted safety just to protect your points. Good afternoon or good morning to Spud Boy. Welcome aboard. Well, the news is Tornado Tam, his match was threatening not to go ahead, but Ice Age turned up at the very last second. Tam was probably 2-0 up at the time, and Ice Age had enough. He forfeited. This match started 26 minutes ago. Slim looking like favourite to get to 90. Now he can pot the 5. That'll bring him to 89. And he should have a fairly simple carom from the 1 to the 5 to follow. But he's gone too heavy, and that's not where you want to be. But he's going to have to play the draw from the 1 to the 5. Again, the objective there is always just to finish in the kitchen. So Slim off and running in the carom phase of the game. And now he's going to have to try and manoeuvre. He's going to have to hit this fairly firm to try and bring this 3-ball back down the table. See, he's playing it gentle, and that's no good, because look at where he is now. He's going to have to work the cue ball to get the following carom. He should have bumped that 3 harder, took a risk there to bring it back up the table towards where the 1 ball is and get the balls closer to make it easier to get the caroms. But he's still surviving, but every shot's a struggle now. And this is not easy. Does he want to risk running the cue ball? I mean, he can cut the 5 past the side pocket below the 3 ball and try and play the 2 railer to the 1 ball. But Slim is using a wee bit of common sense. He's left nothing easy for Bill. He's protected his points. He's got 94, and that was the right shot to do. So he left nothing that was an easy pot for Bill, and he left nothing that was an easy carom for Bill. And now Slim can play the 3 railer. He's trying to go inside here off this 1 ball, and that's not the shot. He had to play the 3 railer because the 3 railer was on every day of the week there off that 1 ball. Where the 1 ball was sitting, you get the spin working, you come down this way and probably kick into the 5 that way. That was a shot. Oh, Ding's looking good then. 4-1 up. First to 10, is it? I think it's a first to 10. Best of 19, I think. Well, Bill tried to chip the 3 there and cut across to the 5. Not easy. Well, Bill is on 77, and this visit here, Bill has to get to 90 if he wants to put a bit of pressure on Slim. He must get to 90 from this visit. Anything short of that is no good. And now he can bring the 5 ball into play. And if he hits this right, he might be even pot the 5 if he hit it firm enough. See, like that. He just didn't hit it firm enough, but he's fine because he's kept the 5 in play, he's kept the 1 in play. Now, is the 1 on the 3 spot, though? No, the 1's on its own spot. I'm thinking about the other end of the table. This is fine. Well, I think the other way to put that is that Ding's playing well so far this week. The problem for Ding is he's been inconsistent for too long. You know, he's ranked 38th in the world, and that's nowhere near where he should be. He's definitely a top 8 player. Well, Bill's visit was just a paltry 8 points, and that is no good. And what's more, he's left Slim an easy start. That needs to bounce, that 3 ball. Now the danger here is if you play the stun onto the 5, the danger is potting the 5. And that's not bad if the 3 ball goes through behind the 1 and out. Because again, it's an easy force follow. And Slim will be on 97. And he's got another force follow. This is not quite as easy at this sort of distance. You've got to trust your instincts with this shot. You can go to the long rail on the right and kick into the 5. But you see now things have leaked away. And once again, there is a 3 railer to the 5 off this 3, if he's brave enough. Now what he's doing here is unconventional, but it really was more of just a protect his points situation again. He's got those 4 vital caroms, takes him to 98. Bill still not at 90. And now he is on 90, but he's got nothing as a follow-up. Whatever he does do here, he's going to have to work the cue ball. And that'll work. And if that 3 ball gets out into the table like that, he's good for a follow-up as well. And he's into the caroms now. So now this is a perfect situation that you get in Cowboy, where it's anybody's game now. If Bill can keep himself going here and get these balls fairly adjacent to one another, this is more than likely going to be a draw into the 1. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. And that's what happens. That's what happens. And again, all that effort, he's back to 85. So Slim, 2 points away, and this 1 ball needs to stay in play. Now, he could try stunning off the 1 into the top corner. If he pushes the 1 out the way, he can try into the side. I think that's what he's called here. And that's fine. And it's 1-0 to Slim. And Bill will be kicking himself there. He had a chance to have a go at Slim there. So that rack took 35 minutes, 10 minutes longer than Tam's first rack. And Bill's got the force follow, 5 to the 3. He wants to hit this fairly firm, bring the 5 up the table. Because the next shot he wants to be playing is a pot in the 5, get it back on its spot. And he should be in a reasonable line for a follow-up here. Oh, is that all just 5 hours, Spud Boy? See back in the day, I used to go to the snooker club for when it opened at 11 AM, and this was on a Friday. I used to go to the snooker club at 11 AM on a Friday, and I wouldn't come out until after midnight. That's dedication for you. I don't think this has landed well for Bill. He's right behind the 1, and it's right in front of the 5. He's going to have to try and play the 1 to the 3, and he's got it. The one thing in Cowboy, like every game of pool you're ever going to play, is you don't want to run the cue ball unless you have to. Because that's always the danger. Oh, aye, 7 hours, I can't count. Yeah, but like I say, that's what I used to do. I used to do that every week. 11 AM in the morning, I would get my snacks and everything, a beer at the bar, and play snooker all day. That was back in my youth, I hasten to add. At least 30 years ago. Again, this is the chance from the 5 to the 3, but this shot from the 5 to the 3, you have to stun with a bit of right English off the 5 so that the right English will punch that cue ball towards the 3. It's quite a big target, the 3 ball, but that's a shot that you need to learn also in Cowboy. As you play the stun shot, you go to the rail, but you must have right English to the cue ball to help it across. There's another failing that a lot of players do in Cowboy, and is they don't use the natural angles that are there sometimes to play shots. They start putting loads of spin in the cue ball when it's not needed. And now this is finished really awkward, hampered over the 1. It's an open table, so he's playing the pot in the 5. But if he doesn't want to run too far through on this. He just wants to get the 5 into the hole. But I don't think it's not that pretty a shot when you're right over that 1 ball. Trying to play the draw. And again, he's threatening to lock himself right up behind that 5. And it's still an open table, so he's fine. And now he's got the 5 into the side, and he wants to be playing the 3 to the 1 next if he can. Needs to miss it. He might be alright. Yeah, he can just get the feather edge of the 3, or he can punch the 3 out the way and run through to the 1. It looks as if that's what he's doing, and that works. Well, it's important for Bill that he builds up this lead. I mean, it's a visit of only 9 at the moment. He's got a slight lead, 29 points to 12, but he must protect these points. Well, you're lucky you're actually getting table time, because my local snooker club shut down years ago. But even when I gave up playing snooker, I gave up because I couldn't see the end of the bloody table. That's how I retired. Well, simple force follow. I mean, you'll get these every day of the week. I mean, these are unmissable. In fact, it's not even a force follow. You can just, again, push the 5 to the hole. And now pot the 5, get up into the table. I mean, he could cut the 3 and come up here and then have to probably go from the 3 ball to a rail to the 5 ball, but ideally he wants to get into the table like that, and he's got a 5 to the 1. Again, you don't want to hit this firm. You want to gently brush the 5 to keep the 5 somewhere near the pocket, like that. And if it doesn't go quite near the pocket, you've still got a fairly straightish 5 ball to pot, and that's good. And now, when I keep, again, I've spoken about this earlier, get to the top side of the 3 and you give yourself options. He's got the force follow on to the 5, 3 balls coming into the table, and if it gets out the way, Bill can pot the 5, but he's got to think about where the cue ball's going for the next carom. Now, for me, I would be going to come inside here. He's coming up the table, trying to get to a line in the centre of the table to try and play the 5-3 again. I would have tried to stay up top, because again, I'm looking for a sight in both of these balls. See where he is now, he's again in a no man's land place, and this could be dangerous if he starts to move the cue ball. Well, that'll work though. And now he's in reasonably good shape again. The run is 40. But Bill's got to think now, before he plays anything risky. He doesn't want to put all that effort to no use by losing these points. And he's got to take a leaf out of Slim's book in that first rack. If there's anything risky, then the one thing you must do is protect your points and just play a safety. You know, do nothing other than hit a rail and a ball. But where the 5 ball is fine. Again, you don't want to run the cue ball, you just want to pot the 5, but make sure that, to me, you want to just come down this way if you can. We have maybe a bit of spin to straighten the cue ball. See, he's running the cue ball, and that's not a wise move. It is not a wise move, Bill. Oh dear. Now that was a big mistake. You don't want to be doing that. And in any other occasion, he would have paid the price there. But he's still at the table. The run is 52. And at the risk of repeating myself, don't lose your points. So, pot the 5, he can draw back off the 5. Right, if you look at the 5 ball, if you draw back off the 5 and come into the table, well, he's going from the 3-1. So he's thinking. I mean, you could draw back out, but he's thinking about what he's doing. Oh, welcome to Tommy. Well, he's looking good to get to 90 in this visit. It got very dicey there a minute ago. Oh, he's missed the carom though. But he's got a rail. He's got his points. The run ends in 67, and it takes Bill to just 3 points away from the carom phase. And this is going to have to provoke a response from Slim. And that's awkward. Now, can he pot? No, it's really awkward. He's got to play the 1 ball, or he could cut the 3. I mean, there's actually no harm in cutting the 3 ball. The only problem is the 3 ball goes up onto its spot. And he's missed the 1. But of course, Bill will get rid of that 1 ball straight away. I would think it's not good to leave it sitting there. When you're trying to get to the carom phase, you must get rid of the 1. I mean, he could cut the 3 and he'd be on 90, but it's no good with the 1 ball over the pocket. And now the 1 ball's going to get up the table if he can't force follow. Yeah, I mean, you've got to hit that 1 ball firmer. He had to run that 1 ball around the table there. I mean, he wants to bring the 1 ball back up this end. Although he can still play from the 5 to the 3. He's not even looking at it. Yeah, he should have played the 5 to the 3 there. Mind you, tell a lie, I forgot he was on a pot, wasn't he? I wish I would pay attention now and again. Now he's on 90. Yeah, that's what I mean, the obvious thing is you're sitting in 87, you've got a shot in the 3 ball, but the 1 ball's over the pocket. The 1 ball over the pocket's absolutely no good where it's sitting. So you have to do it the harder way. Get rid of the 1, get yourself to 88, and hopefully leave yourself a follow-up carom. Well, Bill is looking very strong favourite to square the match here. Didn't get into the cue ball enough. So once again, Slim has a second chance to bite into this deficit, but he's got to make a big substantial contribution here if he's going to put the pressure on Bill. And this is what's very capable of happening in Cowboy. Welcome to Rob. Oh, he's missed the draw to the carom. And that visit is only 11, Slim, and that's no good. That will not get the job done, I'm afraid. Bill, it threatened, but it didn't get there. So now the pot and the carom there leaves the table open. He could get another pot and a carom here, but he didn't square the cue ball. Should have checked that with a bit of left English to try and hit the 1 there. So now he's got to play a carom. And this 5 ball coming down here is fairly handy. Although I think he would have much preferred potting the 3 ball and getting it back up the table. Now again, this is a no man's land shot where the cue ball is. This doesn't do Slim any good whatsoever. Trying to spin into the 5. Gets the cut in the 3. That was well done. A partial recovery. And now potting the 5. He's got the table set up for a conventional sequence of Cowboy shots here. So 1 ball is next, and then he can play the 1-5 carom as long as he stays in an angle shot that allows him to play the next shot, and I think that will do it. He can play the force follow again, or he could cut the 1 and go to the rail behind the 5 and kick it that way. He's got 2 choices how he does it. He has to get out of the kitchen here. And I think he's just got there. So this shot, he's going to miss it because he should have went to the rail there. That shot that he had there, he should have bumped it, went to the rail and kicked to 5. Well, this is tough. I mean, the shot is on though. I mean, there's a shot I like to play regularly, and that's the 3-railer to the 1 off the 5. The only danger is you're cutting the 5 up the table, and sometimes you'll pot it. But he almost got there. He didn't quite get into the cue ball enough. But that was a shot to get the 3-railer to the 1. Once again, Slim is eating away at this deficit slowly. You know, from this visit here, his target has to be 90. You know, because the more opportunities that it takes Slim to try and get to 90, the more likely Bill's going to get to 100 in the final scratch. And again, a lot of players try and draw directly to a shot. I mean, again, we talk about Slim being a one-pocket player, but he should have been able to use the angle off the 5 to run that 3 rails into the 1 there, rather than trying to change the laws of physics to get to the 1. You've got to be brave enough to play those shots and use the rails, because that's what the rails are there for. And that's another mistake that a lot of players do. They try playing a lot of draw shots to balls rather than playing natural angle shots off rails to a ball, because they might have success once or twice by doing what they're doing and thinking that's always the right way to go about it. But you've got to use the angles in the table and the rails. Well, the shot here would be to stun from the 5 to the 1 and stun it with enough pace that the 5's going back up the table and coming back down the table. Well, that's going to bump into the 3. It's at least leaving the carom. Again, the only danger is hitting the 3 full in the face and potting it. But playing it at the right pace to avoid that. But again, it's a recovery shot needed here. And if that 3 ball keeps dropping down and dropping down, let's have a look. It's not quite there. Now he can go off this edge of the 1, go to the rail with right English to kick that 3. He can do that. That shot is on. I mean, he can easily cut that 1 where he's not potting the 1, but he's spinning off that long rail into the 3 off the short rail. But he's trying another route. So the run ends in 5, but it takes Bill to the almost the finishing line. And Slim's still stuck away back on 61. And this is last chance saloon in this rack for Slim. He simply has to get to 90 and get into the caroms, or this rack is over. Well, Slim took the more difficult option, trying to thin cut the 3 along the rail, get it on its spot. But I think he can wave bye-bye to this rack. Well, Bill has missed the carom, and again, Slim, his last contribution was only 6, and that's no good. He has to be getting to 90 on this visit. I've said that in the last visit, and he's well short. He must do it this time. Bill's virtually on the finishing line here in this rack. It's the only way he'll stand any chance of applying pressure to Bill. I haven't had my afternoon nap, and I'm already on this want to fall asleep phase right now. And again, Slim's contribution only 6. The only saving grace for Slim is the fact that the 3 ball's dead for Bill, so he's got 1 less ball to work with. Well, the cue ball finishing top side of the 5 isn't a bad thing. I mean, there's nothing easy, but let's have a look. No, then off is fine from here, and that's well done. So Bill gets the reward for his big contribution. I can't remember what the run was, but it was certainly 60 odd, wasn't it? So the match is all square, 1 rack apiece. Slim breaks off, pots the 3, caroms the 1, open table. So, just to give you a general idea of the pace of the matches, looking at this match, we've played for an hour and we've had 2 racks. So that's half an hour for each rack is the average with these 2 guys. Let's have a look from this end for a wee while. Here's the old draw shot recovery. I think I'll get my second win in a little while once this yawning phase is over. That's just my brain telling me that I should be having a nap right now. Well, Slim's visit from the break-off is 24, and it's rapidly approaching its end. Well, that 5 ball is holding its line. That's well played. There's not many of them that you see hold their line for the double bank. Now he's got to be careful of the scratch if he's playing the firm stun. Onto this one. Just catches the edge of it. The run goes to 35. And again, same objective for Slim. Build up the points, but keep the points. That's the priority. Now, is this finish dead straight? Blocking the one? Let's have a look. Yes, it has. Again, this can go badly wrong. If you start banging the ball to draw to the 3, you can bang the 5 and the 1 around the table and pot one of them. But he's played it at a reasonable pace. And now looking to... I don't know, I think he's got too much angle in the one to pot it in the side and stay in the table. I think he's going to have to come into the kitchen. But if he stays in the kitchen, somewhere near that 5, and it's not right behind it, he'll have a follow-up carom. That looks good. And as long as the 5 isn't going to... Yeah, he's fine. But now he's going to have to either thin cut the 5, cut the 1 to keep this run going. Wee bit tricky. And now he's out of line. But once again, he can cut the 1 and stun 2 rails into the 5. That's a fairly easy shot. Or stun 1 rail into the 5, whatever happens. Needs to get the spin working. And it has done. So his objective now is getting up the table off this 5. He has to get into the table now, outside the kitchen, really. Or if he stays inside the kitchen, he wants to be flat below the 1 so he can skim into the 5. I don't know that the angle is going to allow him to do that. No, it won't. But I think where he's got now is ideal, and this is perfect. And this will now get the 5 ball into play. And the run goes to 46. And now he doesn't want it to block. Now once again, the shot I'd be playing would be the 1 ball, simply to get that cue ball into the table and play a 1-5 carom, or at least leave myself behind the 5 to play a 5-1 carom. Now that he's potted the 5, he has to have a line that he can play the follow through, and I don't think he can. I don't think he can. Nope, he can't do it. He's having to play the draw to the 1 again. And this time the run ends on 52 because he should have potted a 1. He made the mistake potting the 5. Had he done what I was talking about, he would have still been at the table. And this is what I'm talking about. You know, thinking about where the ball's spotting and thinking about where the cue ball can be to leave that next shot. Just the 1 or 2 little shot choices, from my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying everything that I'm talking about is right, but I'm talking about keeping the run going. And the wrong choice of ball there for Slim was really the end of the run. But Bill's visit is short and sweet. It's only 5 points. And now Slim has got a chance to redeem himself and stretch away in this third rack here. Is Ding making a lot of big breaks, or is he just clearing up the mess at the end of a frame? How's he actually shooting? Now, if they're playing, I don't know how many frames they're playing this afternoon, but if they're playing 9, yeah, he's made a couple of big saves. Well, he is a heavy scorer when he gets in amongst the balls. But if it's 9 frames this afternoon or 8 frames this afternoon, then the simple answer is that Mark Allen has to win the remaining frames that are there if he's going to come back with a chance tonight. If he loses any of those, I think he's done and dusted. I think the match is over if that happens. So, Slim is just trying to get as close to 90 as he can, and he's in. He might have to play the draw again here because I don't think he can get that 5 past the 3. No, he couldn't. Now the 3 ball needs to get out of the way, and now he's going to have to play a recovery shot. He has to play a pot, and the pots aren't easy, but the 3 will go. And he's looking at banking the 5. It's going in every day of the week. Absolutely nailed it. He's finishing bottom side of the 3. He's perfect in the carom, and everything's come up smelling of roses. That's exactly where he wants to be, albeit not as close to the hole as that, but he's fine. Well, if he plays the thin cut in the 1, I think he's got to drag this in feather-like. And this is going to no man's land again. I think he had to drop that in dead weight. Again, he had to play that and stay in the kitchen so that he's looking up the table at the 5 and the 3 and the 1 and the 5. Again, he's just not thinking there. He was hoping to get good somewhere in the middle of the table where the better shot was to actually, again, gently pot the 1 and try and stay low on those balls. And that's why the run has ended again in 23. You know, there's the odd shot choice that Slim's done here where he's relying on getting a roll up the table and having shape somewhere or another, where he's not playing the shot down here in the kitchen where he was guaranteeing a shot. And do you see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about, where even players as good as Slim are not making the obvious shot choice there. When you start running the cue ball to an area you're not familiar with, the familiarity is keeping it down in the kitchen off that 1 ball there. Well, I think he's feeling the pressure. Of course, the thing is as well, the fact that you don't have a shot clock means that you've got that bit of time to actually assess the situation before you make your move. This is the thing I keep talking about. You know, don't play the shot until you've got it clear in your head exactly what you're doing. And now Bill has got an invitation to the party here. Slim's got a big lead, and Bill can bite a big chunk into that right now with this visit. And he's also got the bonus of the 2 balls, and he can squeeze this 1 ball past the 5 and still hit the 5. I don't think he picked the right line there. I think he could have squeezed that, but he's got the 3. Oh, mind you, it was a pot. I think that was the problem. It was a pot he was on. So I think he was hoping to get a roll of the ball and 1 go in a hole somewhere. I think that was it. It wasn't a carom he was on, it was a pot. Well, that's a bonus for Slim. Bill's visit was only 19 there. And Slim now should be heading to the carom space. That might be too straight. So now the pot and the 3, again, bring the cue ball up the table or try and stay below the 3, and that's a better shot. That's what I'm talking about. He's now stayed top side of the 3, and he's got the choice of the little force follow, and the 3 ball comes up the table and it's in play, and you can pot it and off you go. This is taking a better shape right at the start here with this visit. So that'll take him to 83. He's now got the thin edge of the 5, or the force following the 5 to the 1, which is fairly easy. And that 1 needs to bounce, because he's going to have to get that put away, that 1 ball. All about the pace here. If he goes up the table and he misses a kiss on that 3, with the pace that he's got, he should be good for the following carom. If it doesn't go dead straight, he might have gone dead straight. No, he's fine. And now he can work with the 3 and the 5 here. Just get that cue ball on a sort of parallel line to the 5. If he brings the cue ball, pots the 3, brings the cue ball out to here, he can play the 3 to the 5. Something like that. He's almost on the mark, and now he's looking good. And he's well, Bill's got a chance here of really putting the pressure on Slim. If he keeps his head together, he's fine because he can get rid of the 5. And this is sort of more conventional now, the way these balls are sitting. Now, once again, the shot I would be playing, I mean, again, you see the shot straight away. Bill's going for the cut in the 3. As long as you stay below the 3, you've got 2 shot choices to follow. The one that's easiest is the 5 to the 1. If he finished a bit narrower, he could have played the 3 to the 5. He just went a wee bit wider, but he's fine. Well, now it's the force follow 5 to 3. He'll have a 1 down the rail, so he doesn't need to worry about where his next ball's coming from. He's guaranteed a pot. If he had made the carom, that is. And that's a big miss. The run is 30. And Slim now, with a fairly straight in 3 ball, should be at 90 in a minute. I do like this format you're using, Hugh, over the fancy schmunch you used most of the time, the 10 ball tourney. I don't know what you're talking about. Mind you, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. So Slim gets the 5 ball, which took him to 89. He gets the carom and the 1 that takes him to 90. And now it's going to have to be the draw shot from the 3 to the 5. The only concern he has is the line that the 5's taking, because the 5 could be a bank. That's a possibility here. He's playing the draw, but watch the 3 ball. And the 3 ball is fine. And if it hits the 1, he's in good shape now. Now it's awkward. But he's got it, when he plays this shot, he's got to think about the 1 ball. If he's going to try and hit this 3, he must move that 1 ball fairly firm. There's no point in just pushing it up the table. And this is better, because he can play the 3 to the 1 next. If this 1 goes to the rail, he's got a fairly easy 3 to the 1, and look where the 3 ball's going. The 3 ball's heading over towards the 5. So you've got to watch the pace. And he hasn't hit it hard enough. He's been more concerned about getting the carom than he was of actually continuing the run. You know, a proper Cowboy player thinking about what they're doing would have moved that 3 ball out across the table to leave the possibility of the 3-5 or the 5-3 carom to follow. Now he's going to have to run. And again, he's just making sure he keeps his points, which again, you cannot criticise a player for doing that, because it's sensible. Rather than running a cue ball and doing something that I would probably do to try and make the carom, he's kept his points. But if had he played that 3 ball better, he would have probably still been at the table. So the pressure's on Bill. He's got a 1 to the 3, which he's missed. And if he'd hit it hard enough, he's always got the possibility, because the line is perfect. That was going to be a 2-in-1 shot there. And that's another thing you need to look out for in Cowboy. You know, you hit that shot firmer. If you don't hit the 3, the line that it's taken, he's got a good chance of hitting a 5. And that was the only mistake that Bill made there. He didn't hit it hard enough. This is what you have to look for in Cowboy. The 2-in-1 shot. If you don't get the first one, you have a strong chance of getting the second one with the way the balls are lined up. And as it is looking pretty much odds on that Slim is going to be in a 2-rack-to-1 lead here in a few minutes. And once again, it's now in a situation where he would have to play a risky shot and risk losing those 3 points that he's made. I mean, if he just bumped into the 3 off the long rail on the left, he wouldn't leave anything that inviting where the 1 and the 3 are sitting. I mean, Bill may well have a pot and a 5, but nothing would be in a great shape in the table for Bill. If he just pushed in behind the 3, you know, just bump the rail and bump into the 3 behind it and leave it awkward. I mean, that 3 will pot and the 5 will pot, but Bill's going to have to work to get points here. I mean, there are times where you're virtually over the line, and you're risking the chance that Bill could put something together here. But even so, the fact that you're in 98 means that Bill's got to not only put a good run, he's got to put a good run of carom. So the odds are still in your favour at this precise moment, unless Bill gets to 90 with this actual visit. There is the odd occasion it will backfire. You know, that depends on who you're playing. Well, that's I mean, that did everything but hit the balls. But once again, Slim's going to have to work the cue ball, and he's got the 2 railer to the 3, which isn't difficult. He's gone behind it. Bill can go left side of the 5 ball if he wants to start off with a carom. If he plays the 3, he stays bottom end where we are, and he's got a sight for the 5 to the 3. Ideally, he wants to get that 1 ball back in its spot. No, he's completely missed the line for the carom. I hope he didn't make the mistake and think he was on a pot. Maybe he did, the way he potted that 5 ball. But now, the mistake that Bill has made is he's left that 1 ball there. And it's in a very handy situation for Slim to get out in this rack. If Slim can get the 5 to the 3, he's odds on certainty to be out. And he doesn't want to stay behind the 3 though. He doesn't want to do that. He had to hit it firmer and make sure he had a sight on the 1. And there are no jump cues. So he's going to have to go to the rails to try and get to this 1. Now there is a chance of, there is a shot on here, if I can get my lines to work, where he can hit that rail, kick the 1 and go in, and that was unlucky. Now, this is definitely over. It's an easy out here for Slim. Now, the one thing you can do tactically at this situation is try and put the 1 ball in an awkward spot and protect the 1 ball to just try and keep yourself alive in the rack. But as I say, going back to Bill's visit, he left the 1 ball up at that end of the table when the first objective should have been getting rid of it and getting on its spot. Because whenever you start leaving a 1 ball near the pocket and your opponent's well into the caroms, you're asking for trouble. They're more than likely going to find their way out. Now that rack took 25 minutes. And it's 2 racks to 1 to OnePocketSlim. Now, a quick reminder to any latecomers, if there's anybody paying attention, we've already had a result. I don't know where it is in the bracket. Where is it? There it is. Tornado Tam was probably about to go 2 racks to 0 up when we left it. It was, there was no match there between Ice Age and Tam. Tam was far too strong. And Ice Age wasn't scoring anything when he got in. So Tam is through to round 2, and he plays the winner of Mark, Shark and Woody. So this is going to be a much tougher test for Tam in round 2. I'll tell you that straight away. Meanwhile, if we look at the event schedule, we have 1 more match today, the one that I'll be streaming, and that's the one between Larry and Tommy, and that's at 7 PM tonight. That'll be worth looking at, because Larry's very capable at Cowboy. That's the thing about Larry. Larry's a player that thinks about what he's doing. And that's always very handy when you're playing Cowboy. So, well, Tam, you were in a bit of a hurry in that match. I don't think playing some of the shots that you were playing will be very beneficial to you against either Mark, Shark or Woody in the next round. But you weren't really under any pressure. Well, I certainly was guessing at a few of the shots you were playing. I'll give you that. What I'm wondering is whether you could see some of the shots you were playing. 6-1 to Ding. No, it's all over. Well, I just tell it as I see it. I thought you were playing too loose at times, but then again, there was probably a valid reason as to why you were. Because you were under no pressure whatsoever. All I would say is you'll just need to tighten up a bit for your next match. Meanwhile, we've got Bill in rack number 4 here, trailing by 2 racks to 1, on a run of 40, and looking to build up a healthy lead here and put a bit of pressure on Slim. Now, how's the line on that 3 ball? Let's have a look. That's not bad. I didn't quite pick the line. It wasn't easy at that angle to pick the force follow line. That's not easy. In this match, that Bill's had a reason. I think he had a 60 odd in the first rack, Bill, and we've had maybe 2 or 3 40s, I think. And Bill's run ended quickly, as did Slim's. Bill's back at the table. Now, I think it was about 60, 62, 64 or something like that Bill had. Tam, I was talking at I'll say that again. I was talking at the beginning of this stream before your match started about the VP4 league, and I was looking at the stats, in particular my stats, and I think if you go and look at the league and look at the league stats and look at my my stats, I've got the worst break stats I think in the tourney as far as scratches. I've scratched 13 times on the break, miles ahead of anybody else. I mean, some guys have got like 5 scratches. I've got 13. So I need to work on my break. Well, the last 2 or 3 times I've played, I've started crap. Because I would, again, get no table time at 9 ball at all, hardly. And coming in and trying to start off and running, and I played pretty poor in the first match. And I think I left. I think when I ended up fouling or missing, I think I left 3 9 ball combos that Sergeresh got in that match. And I think it was 4-1 up against Bankster, and the same thing happened. I was 4-1 up, looking good, and then I started gifting racks away. But at least I got 2 wins, and Potman at the end gave it away. We had a chance of winning the night, and Potman fell apart like a cheap suit in the final rack. Tried to play a safety, and he never got the ball to a rail. And of course, his opponent was like 7 and out or something, and he had a dead set combo to win the match. So that was the glimmer of hope that we had last night in that final match, and it very quickly got extinguished. Well, the good news for you, Tam, is you're not playing next week. Fast Eddie's in, Mark Sharp's in, and I'm in again. And I'm only in again because I won 2 matches last night. And I think Mark Sharp won 1. Can't remember, I didn't bother looking. Anyway, more importantly, Slim on a run of 28, having to play the bank on the 3, oh no, sorry, the draw from the 3 to the 5. He's missed it again. But at least he's kept his points. Did you hear about my visit to the garage, Tam? Did you hear about it in the stream the other day there? I was talking about, on my day off, I knew that the exhaust was sounding a bit dodgy. In fact, when I looked at the exhaust, the silencer would have been lying in the street if it wasn't, held in a little loop around the tailpipe. That's what was holding it in position. Other than that, it was hanging in mid-air. And so on Thursday, I took it into the garage. I knew what was coming. I took it into the garage and I said, could you have a look at the exhaust? And the guy said, we can't, we've not got a ramp. They were working in cars at the time. And so, to cut a long story short, I booked it in for Saturday. He says, it's fine. It's not going to fall in the road. I said, well, if it was going to fall in the road, it would have fell in the road long before now, because it's been like that for a week. And he had a look under the car, and he came up with the good news, saying, you need a middle part in the front end of the exhaust, or the silencer end of the exhaust. I said, aye, that's the good news. 220 quid. So that's where I went yesterday when I come home from work. Straight onto the Visa card. No, it's Kilmarnock Tyres. All the local taxi drivers take their cars there. I've been going there for years. I mean, they're pretty good. I went there on word of mouth. I was told by one of my workmates years and years ago that's where he went. They used to be in the town. They actually used to be in the town right behind the old GPO in Kilmarnock off John Finney Street. It was a tiny little garage they had. There was no room in it. And so they moved right out of town to... If you've ever been down the Kilmarnock way years ago, you know where Massey Ferguson's used to be, out at the southwest side of Kilmarnock, out of town. Well, it's now a big industrial estate. It's all different industrial buildings and units. And Kilmarnock Tyres moved out there years ago, and that's where I go to get my tyres done and everything like that. Yeah, that's probably what most folk do. Straight up the A77 and avoid it like the plague. Oh, I'll tell you, Tam, it's a depressing place. I mean, I'm hardly ever in the town centre at all now. I mean, it's like maybe once every 2 or 3 years, for some reason, I have to get into the town. And I go into the town and you walk down that main street and it's so depressing. Empty shops. I mean, British Home Stores shut in Kilmarnock about, 5 years ago or more? And do you know that the store has still got British Home Stores on it? And it's like one of these kind of cheap charity shops that's in it at the moment. That's the kind of crap that's in the town. You know you're getting old when they redeveloped Kilmarnock in the very early 70s, and I was just a kid, and the old Kilmarnock town centre got basically shut down. They ripped it down, put in a one-way system, built the multi-storey car park, and you know you're getting old when the multi-storey car park that they've built has been up for nigh on 50 years, and now they're about to pull it down in your own lifetime. You know you're getting old when that's happening. Right, so we've now got a match on in this rack because Bill is in the lead. Oh, I mean, this car park, you know how bad a multi-storey car park it was. First of all, the lift, I think, maybe worked for the first week and it never worked again. And then everything about it all smells of piss because people use it as a toilet and various other antisocial behaviour going on in it. But that's what reminds me of the. Well, Bill's lost his points there because he's not got the car, and not got the rail. But this multi-storey, it just reminds me of a public toilet. It just smells of piss. The quicker they pull it down, the better. Well, now it's getting a bit untidy and scrappy here. Now, Slim, if I'm in Slim shoes, I'll be wanting to keep my wits about me here. I've got a 2-1 lead. Mistakes are happening too frequently. You've got to keep thinking about your objective. You've got to get to 90. Now, has Bill got the carom this time? Did he hit the 5? No, he didn't. He's done it again. Now, you're getting far too many opportunities here, Slim, and you're not making anything of it. You've got to score here. I'll have a quick drink. And just a quick reminder as well for anybody that's interested, the Tactical Genius enters the tournament on Tuesday night at 6 PM against Brain Fell Out. So I wonder who's going to stream that one. Because I won't be. I don't want any video evidence of my catastrophes. I've already warned the guys, Tam, if you're still there, that I can't resist a 3-railer. So I'll be a sucker for that. If anybody wants to make me look a fool, just leave me plenty of 3-railers. I'll be going for them. If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down in spectacular manner. I wonder if I'll have a sensational finish. I've got to have a sensational finish in this tournament. I don't want to die of embarrassment. I want to have something spectacular. I've got to make a name for myself in this. It's my best chance it's ever going to be. Oh, but don't take anything for granted. You can end up looking a proper numpty. Well, we're all square here. Bill, of course, needs to win this rack if we're going to go all the way. Now, this match started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're now an hour and 40 minutes into it, and we're into rack number 4, albeit the first phase of it, I should say. And neither of them wants to get to 90. That's basically the conclusion I've come to. Because I've stopped putting scores together. Again, this is not the best line. And this is where Cowboy becomes a struggle when you can't get into reasonable shape and it keeps happening. You get these stalling phases where, you know, you get 10 points, he gets 4 points. You get 12 points, he gets 15 points. You get 30 points, then you scratch, and then you're back to square one, and so on and so forth. That's where it can get frustrating. But the way it's looking, it's going to be a tight finish, this rack. But is Slim about to make the move to get to 90? Five to the 3 is simple, with a chance of potting the 3, but he's playing the bailout draw shot to the 1. I would have played the 5 to the 3 every day of the week there. Because again, the reason I say that is because the cue ball's going up towards the 3. The chances are you might pot the 3 with the carom, and you're staying in the top side of the 3 to leave yourself another opportunity for a shot on the balls that are up the table or down the table as we look. Again, the visit is only 22. And Bill now is the next player to have a chance to get to 90. And it's imperative that Bill gets there on this visit. He must get there. This is just a must. There's no other outcome that's going to be good. He has to get to 90 to have a chance to survive in this match and take it all the way. And he's still in reasonable shape. But I think the best thing to do here would be to pot the 5. Needs to come out into the table and not go square. And again, well, I think he's okay, but if he's played the carom to the 1, he has to be careful with the pace. And the 5 needs to bounce. Or he's fine in the 1. But of course he needs the carom, doesn't he? Let's have a look at the angle. He's fine. He should be making this carom every day of the week. Go to the rail, punch in behind the 5. Yeah. And now he's into 92. He's pushed the 5 over towards the 3, which was the right shot, although he's awkward. And now, let's have a look. You want to either leave yourself on the 3 or bump the 5 further into the table than that. He's left the 5 a wee bit short, and he's not got a great line in the 3 to the 1. This 3 ball's going to hit the 1 every day if you try that. Now he could do the spectacular that I would try, and that's draw it to the rail, bottom left, and punch to the rail and kick the 1. But he's found a way. The run is 37, and he's well into the caroms, so he's got to be careful not to lose these points. And Bill is back to the wall now. 6-2, so the session ends in 8 frames, right? He needs to win. I mean, Mark Allen needs to come out tonight and win the first 2 for a start. He's got to win the first 2. And Slim, the run on 39. And the 1 ball, as long as it doesn't block the 5, I think he's fine. That's okay as far as the carom goes. 99. I take it you've checked your messages, Eddie. You've been thrown in at the deep end next week. Are you on Eastern time? Are you 5 hours behind us? So that means that next Saturday at 1 PM Eastern Standard Time, that's when the league night starts. Slim going for the scratch on the side. Didn't find the line. But the run is 42. And that was right up to the final scratch there from Slim. So that shows you he's no mug once he puts his mind to it. And that's really got Bill on the rack here. And The simple solution here for Bill is not easy, but he's got to get to 90. Oh, Pacific time, well, goodness me, that means that it's what? That's 10 o'clock in the morning your time. You're just getting out of bed. I never realised that. Anyway, please win a match for God's sake, because none of my other guys can win a match. And you're going to get stung by the handicap. I'll tell you that straight away. You're going to get pain. You'll notice that our team has shrunk after Popman lost last night. He quit the team. He says he done it in error and he wants back in, but he hasn't sent a proposal. Well done to Slim. Slim produced the goods when it mattered with that run of 42 at the end to take him right on to the final scratch. And he completes the deal. And he beats Bill by 3 racks to 1. And don't say Slim is any sort of mug at this game. He's kidding everybody on. He's got a fair idea of what he's doing. Not all the time. There's some shots I didn't agree with from both players, but he got the job done, which is what matters in the end. So a good win for OnePocketSlim by 3 racks to 1. So again, final reminder, guys. We have the match between Larry and Tommy coming up in just over 2 hours' time. I will be there for that. And in the meantime, I am going to bid you good afternoon. Thanks all for your company, and I'm off for my dinner. And I will see you later.